What do you get? Oh, the cat wishes to leave. Hang on. Okay, out you go. No, out. Go on, sod off. Bye. Thank you. Hello and welcome to an AV Forums short video overview of the Eversolo Play CD streaming amplifier and, well, CD player. My name is Ed Selly, I'm a hi-fi editor for AV Forums. What have we got in the Play CD? Well, it's here. We're back to products that are gratifyingly small and happy enough to sit on the arm of the sofa, which is good as far as I'm concerned. The Play CD is the higher spec version of a two-strong group of products from Eversolo, which are streaming amplifiers in a sort of vein of product that we've started to see an awful lot of. Are they all-in-one systems? Are they amplifiers? Nobody really cares because they do seem to be what the general public wants at this point. The Eversolo is probably closer to amplifier than some of its rivals, and we'll come to that in a bit as to why I'm making that bold statement. It's the first Eversolo product that we reviewed that has amplification on board. In this case, it is a Class D amplifier. You get 60 watts into 8 ohms and 110 into 4. This is less power than some of its key rivals. It's less power than the WiiM Ultra, it's less power than the Marantz M1. However, I am obligated to point out, as a resident of the real world, that it hasn't struggled to drive any of the loudspeakers I've connected to it in either of the rooms that I've run it in whilst it's been on test here. It might be fair to say that I've had fractionally less reserve headroom than I've had with either the Amp Ultra or the Marantz M1, but I've not exactly been up against it, and I've certainly had nothing so grim as distortion or unhappiness from it. One thing that Eversolo has done is that they wanted to make sure that you got all of the power available to you all of the time. So on the underside, instead of a hard drive bay, you'll find this ridged cooling arrangement, which seems to be very effective in use. And the overall sort of perception of the amplifier is that it's pretty decent. We'll come to sound quality in a little bit. What you get in principle, though, is the Eversolo streaming interface, which is the same as we've seen on the various Eversolo streamers that we've tested. And as far as I'm concerned, is one of the very best interfaces out there at the moment. There are certain aspects of it that I do feel are very, very decent. It requires a bit more initial setup from you. You need to scan your library. You need to do certain things like that. However, once you've done that, it's very fast and very, very stable. You can look at more albums on screen on a phone or tablet than you can in the WiiM app, which if you've got a large library to browse is not an incidental thing. It's genuinely quite useful. You can access Apple Music via the Eversolo platform, which is not common. And something that key rivals can't do. You get AirPlay as well, which is something that is noticeably missing from WiiM products as it stands. Some of the older devices still have it. You don't get Chromecast though. So what Eversolo gives with one hand, they take with the other. And I would say that WiiM's internet radio implementation is a little bit better as well. Around the back, the reason why I've said this is closer to an amplifier than an all-in-one is that there is just that little bit more connectivity here, and it does make a bit of a difference. Whereas WiiM gives you a single RCA input, and we'll show this in a moment, the Eversolo has separate RCA inputs for a phono stage, which can be moving magnet or moving coil, like the Ultra Streamer, and also a standard analog line input. So you've got more flexibility in terms of what you choose to connect to it. You get more digital inputs, you get digital outputs. You also can make use of the Eversolo's higher sample rate handling. Like all the other Eversolo products we've tested, this is good to 768 kilohertz PCM, DSD512, and you can output varying levels of this sample rate over USB, optical and coaxial, which I don't know how many people are going to take an all-in-one amplifier and end up using it as a digital transport, but crucially, you can. It is an option available to you which isn't really available in the same way from its key rivals. What also isn't available from its rivals is lurking on the side of this. There is a Hitachi CD-ROM drive on the side of the Play CD, which makes it the CD. Now, Is this the most elegant implementation of CD I've ever seen in my life? No, it's not. Having the drive come out the side is a bit weird. It's very clearly sort of PC hardware rather than sort of, audio hardware, but it can read all the discs I've stuck into it. It can normally find metadata and album art for all the discs I've stuck into it, and you can use it as a ripper as well. You can rip to an off-board library should you choose to do so in the future. This is quite useful. I have a sneaking suspicion that we're due a sort of minor bump of CD revival. Whether this product feeds directly into that compared to some of the things that we're going to be looking at, I don't know. But it's got this facility for an extra £100 over the standard play that its key rivals don't. If you still feel that optical disc has a role to play in your listening, the Eversolo sort of begins to enter a class of one. It's in new casework. It's not the same as the streamers. It forgoes the sort of sharp edges and so on and so forth, but it does feel very solid, and it's very carefully assembled. Now, we've done all the positives. It's time to deal with some of the things about this product that annoy me, because there are some. There is no remote as standard. It's responded to an Eversolo remote that's here, and you can order one as an optional extra. This would matter less if the product would wake up over wireless, but it won't. It can only wake up over network. And this is compounded by the fact that the HDMI ARC input, which is very, very good, it works very reliably, will not auto-power the device on with a television. It's just not part of the functionality that Eversolo offers. With the streamers, this is no great shakes, because you're going to need to have to power on an amplifier anyway. With this, in a household where not all of you might be as invested in the business of how the equipment works, and they just want noise to come out and the masked singer is on, it's more of an irritation. And it is something that I feel is a genuine impediment to using and enjoying the play day to day across the full range of things that it's technically capable of doing. I would also point out that the EQ functionality is good, but fair comment is that the WiiM system is fractionally better. If you are looking to make adjustments to the performance of your speakers in room, the WiiM is probably your best bet. Sonically though, I really like this product. There's various comments online about certain aspects of its behaviour which appear to have been corrected in subsequent software updates. This product hasn't put a foot wrong whilst it's been on test. It might be fair to say that I am not a destruction test reviewer. My aim is to listen to the product, not to return it in a dustpan and brush. But nevertheless, it's not given me any signs that it's going to flake out on me or do anything untoward. It's a pleasure to use. It's just as effective over Roon as it is the Eversolo app. And the performance is really quite interesting. It's an AKM DAC in here, and it's a Pure Path Class D, not one I'm terribly familiar with. Is it as punchy? Is it as audibly powerful as the WiiM? No, it isn't. But it's very refined, it's very forgiving, and it's still perfectly capable of delivering, a bit of shove when you need it to and sounding suitably ballistic when you need it to. Obviously, at this point, I need to put it down, reach down, and bring the WiiM into contention. There's some incidental shots of the two together. As you can see, the WiiM is quite considerably smaller than the Eversolo, if that matters. That does mean that the display is considerably smaller as well. I went into reviewing this sort of wondering why you would spend the extra on the Eversolo over the WiiM, and I do feel that for quite a few people they won't feel the urge to, especially if TV viewing is a regular part of what you're going to do. Nevertheless, I can see the point of the Eversolo more, having spent some time with it, than was the case prior to this point. I think the extra connectivity is very, very useful. I still prefer the interface over WiiM's, and sonically it is capable of keeping the Amp Ultra honest. You've got the Marantz M1 to consider as well. That's sort of hovering around the £900 price point at the moment, and the HDMI ARC implementation on that is vastly superior to either of these products. It will decode its own multi-channel input and then downmix to stereo, and I genuinely think that makes a useful difference. Nevertheless, I assumed it was going to be a slam dunk for the Ultra. And I can understand why a lot of people will just save 100 quid over the standard play or £200 over the CD and go for it. Nevertheless, I would also understand perfectly why you might choose the Eversolo. The better sample rate handling, greater flexibility, Apple Music support, and the sort of general sense that it's just got a bit more development stretch in it in terms of what you might choose to do with it over the years has me much more enthused about this newest member of the Eversolo family than I thought I might be. I'm a huge fan of the streamers. I wasn't quite sure what I was going to make of this. What I do make of it is that it's very, very good. There is a written review that accompanies this video on the site, which covers some other aspects of its performance and behaviour. It allows me to say less, use flowery metaphors, etc. I'm still a writer, not a presenter. So please feel free to have a look at that if you have a time. Have the time. Anyway, there you have it. Please feel free to make your feelings known in the comments, as I'm sure you will. If you've enjoyed this little ramble through these amplifiers, please don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. There will be more content of this nature, including a video I will be shooting literally the moment I've moved these off the arm and put the next products in their place. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again next time. Bye.